In today's emulation video, I will be talking about how you can organize your ROMs and emulators. For example, I use something called a menu to access all my emulators and ROMs. So, for example, I have this menu here. I could access different emulators. Like I could access the computer emulator like this. So I want to access MSX. I could press 7 like that. I'm able to access my emulator here, MSX emulator. I could access other emulators. I could press 13 to go back. So I want to access a arcade emulator. I could do that also. So I want to use Supermodel emulator. I want to play Star Wars Trilogy. I could do that. I exited that. Go back to number 5. Go back to D. Go back to the main menu. If I want to start MAME, I can do that too. Got different emulators here. I want to play this game. Get out of here. So I could access all my emulators from here, which is pretty good actually. Okay, go back. I can also access my video game console emulators. Let's try the Nintendo emulator. Number 11. Okay. I'm going to use Atari 2600. I can. That's 0. Let me get out of here. I could even access run RetroArch, which I put in multi-platform like there. Multi-platform is RetroArch. Just like that. run other emulators too. I could try some computer. Try console video. Try PSP here, because the one on a RetroArch wasn't very good. I could run this emulator as well. Get out of here. I could run all kinds of emulators here, basically. So let me exit the program. Let me show you how you can make your own. I'll just show you the basics on how to do it. I'll just make a very simple menu, and you could expand from there. You just open up a Notepad just like that. CLS means clear. Start means you could start. This is what this program is basically. You could add this time feature if you want. It's up to you. You don't have to. It's not necessary. It does make it look cool. Just going to call it NES or Nintendo Entertainment System. NES. Want to add one more? Exit. This allows you to input into Enter, so basically it allows you to select the menu, basically. Okay, let me explain what I just wrote here. If the number is less than equal to, I should have put 2 actually, not 4. Because I only have 3 numbers. 0 is counted as a number in computers. You have 0, 1, 2, 3. If the number I entered is less than equal to 2, then it would go to my item, which I will put down here. Else if it's greater than 2, then it's going to go back to this menu because it's not a valid selection. And anything other than that else, it'll just go to start. That's what it means. So if you learn any type of computer programming language, you have if statement and you have the else statement and you have an else if statement. That's kind of like a nested if statement. And you have else statement. If it's this, then it goes to that, like that. If it's something else, then it goes to something else. It goes to here, whatever. And kind of like if you ever saw a flow chart, let me show you. So if it's true, it goes here, it goes to this menu, and after it's finished, it goes back, basically. Like that, it goes back. Or it could go to another thing, or whatever. So that's how it works. So if it's greater than that, or if it's anything else, then it goes back here as well. If it's less than equal to 2, then it goes to the menus and it goes back. That's how it works. So let me try something else. Now I'm going to call it item 0. Let's see where that Nintendo file is, that NES file of my emulator. Just to do a very simple example, this is where it's at. Control C to copy. I'm going to press D drive because it goes D drive. Press type CD. Type this in. And the execution application file is this. And after it finishes, it goes back to start. It goes back here after it finishes. Let's try the next one. Control C to copy that. CD. CD means change directory. You go there, and I want to start that program. So now it goes back to start after I execute this program. It goes over here. Let's just try that as an example. Item 2 means exit the program. So according to this flow chart, it just exits the program. It just gets out of it. It exits the program just like that. Let me create this batch file and run it. See if it works. Put it on my desktop. Called gamemenu.bat. And now I started my Nintendo emulator. That's enough. Start the Super Nintendo emulator. As you just saw. Let me start that again. Let me run something. Okay, that's enough of that. I want to try something else. A menu within a menu. Try that also. And we'll try different formats as well. Let's try. Okay, so I got a selection. So it goes to this. It goes from this to another if statement, basically. So it goes from here to another one of these, basically. Let me. Okay, let me explain what I just did. If what I entered is capital A, then it will go to part A. Else, if what I entered, which is new, is equal to B, then it'll go to part B. That's how it goes. When you're using this type of if statement in Windows prompt, or in Linux, it would be called terminal. This is cap sensitive, so if you put lowercase, then you would have to designate it lowercase also, which will make you do more work. But if you just use capital A, it would work. If you use lowercase b, it's not going to work. But in this case, I added all the possibilities. I added part A capital, part A lowercase. So we could do that as well if you want. You could press Control V and access this like this. But we could just do that. Control V like that. What I'm telling it is, if it's not one of these, then it's going to go back to item 2. That's it. So now let's make our menu. Go back to here. I have the main folder right here. Okay, so after it goes here, goes into D drive, because you have to designate that. If you have like multiple drives like I do, I have like C, D, E, G, H, I, J. You have so many drives here. You have to designate it at its what drive it is, and then you can go into the directory by change directory like that. And I want to execute this file, run this file, which is the .exe file, I think. .exe, the application file, and I run it, and I go back to there. Okay, this time the execution file is MAME64, which I added there. It goes back to the items 2 menu after that. And next is go back. The next previous menu was called start, so I go to start. That's it for this one. Forgot one thing. I forgot to run the file. F2 Control C. Control V right there. I'll put that. Make sure everything's correct. If it's not correct, it's not going to work. It's one of the frustrating things about computer programming is if you type anything wrong, it's not going to work. So you have to go back and debug it. Okay, good. Try to run it. I think it's this one, right? Go to arcade. Gotta run C actually. So if I press regular lowercase c, it's not going to work because I have to press uppercase c. Now it works. That's it for that. It does work, so I'm going to try in the next one. We'll go back to my main menu. Okay, that's basically how you make your own menu for anything. And if I want to put an icon on this and make it look better, I could do that. I could go to here, this test folder. I'll delete that because I don't need it. What I want to do is I want to create a shortcut for my desktop. Press F2 and then you go here and then go to properties, or change icon. You could get a retro gaming icon if you want. I'm just going to select the one that's in here by default for Windows. Okay, so now I have an icon on here on my desktop, and I can just access my games from there. And the one that I created is a lot more sophisticated because I added every single emulator on here that I have. And for other types of emulators, it requires you to, like for DOSBox, it requires you to go into the directory of DOSBox and go into the .conf file and access that to start the machine, which I made a video on for DOSBox. There's also one for other emulators like Supermodel, which you have to kind of like do the same thing. Supermodel is all the way up in arcade emulators. Here, Supermodel. So I used a call function for the files that I created on Supermodel. I also made a video on that as well. I'll leave those in the video descriptions below. So you have to create a BAT file. Which I did to run each of the games. That's how it is. That's how it is basically. Other than that, it's pretty much like I showed on this video. And you could get a program called Notepad++, which is, I think it's a lot better because there's lines on it, opposed to using standard Notepad, which has no lines on it. This kind of like helps you find bugs in the program and help you debug the program much faster because it tells you which line there's a problem in. And opposed to using this, but for me, it doesn't really matter. I use both. But it does, this is a lot more helpful. You could find that program. I'll leave that in the video descriptions below if you're interested in this, if you won't get it. All the any other links in the video descriptions below. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you can leave in the comment section, and I'll leave all the other videos that I made about how to run patch files with different emulators, so you can you can make your own menu like how I did here and access your games more easily. It's definitely easier than accessing it through folders like this. It's definitely a lot quicker. So anyway.